Let's get it going. So hi, everyone. My name is RJ Thompson. I'm the president of AMA Pittsburgh, and you are in the last session of the AMA Momentum Design Track. Tonight's the last night of the presentations. Next week, we have our practicum experience next Wednesday from 6 to 9. And we are going to be talking about everything that you've learned throughout the past few weeks and applying it to a nonprofit client, which is the PA Humanities, which is a nonprofit organization that supports humanities-driven projects in communities all throughout Pennsylvania. So if you haven't had a chance, please look them up. And kicking us off tonight is my buddy, my good old pal, Scot Rutledge. Thank you for being here, Scott. I really appreciate it. And Scott's going to talk to us about interactive design and some associated ideas and topics with that. If you haven't had a chance, consider scanning that QR code there. And what do they get? I guess it's a surprise. It's a surprise, right?
It's a whole lot of nothing, but it shows what we're doing.
Way to undersell it.
I will joke that this is the most interactive presentation you'll ever experience, but this is the interactive part.
Those are the best. Well, without further ado, I'll let you introduce yourself and take it away.
Sure. So let me actually click on the area here. So yeah, welcome to interactive design, designing for the user. We have an hour. There's only a couple of us, so we'll probably move pretty quick on some of these things, but I want to talk to you about how interactive works and how it can fit into the bigger picture of your business, if it's education or if it's a small company or a large company. But when it's done correctly, interactive design can make any product, take it to the next level and yield tons of results. But not all interactive is the same. Some elements sound good in theory, but actually they have a negative effect on the consumer. So throughout this presentation, we'll look at what works and discuss what might not work. But the point of the matter is that there's a function that you should follow when looking at interactive design. And I do believe that it's one of the most critical pieces that you can have in your arsenal. So this is me. I'm a seasoned marketer, and this is one of my favorite subjects. And how I came to actually talk about this subject kind of goes in line with my career. I worked for Sweetwater Center for the Arts as an in-house designer, then the Community College of Beaver County, and as a designer there as well. And in that role, I piloted an AR app called, it was just the CCBC Erasma app, and it was run on the Erasma platform. And what this app did is you would scan course catalog or any of the publications that we triggered the animations on, and live video would pop in AR space, 3D space to enhance the publication. We had a couple like long shot things that this app was going to do. And one of the things that we finished was that you could point the camera from your phone to any one of the buildings and it would identify the building, the hours of the building, and it gave you a little bit of a map of where things were located. So if you walked onto campus, you could pull out your phone and train the camera on the building, and you would see what that building was. In higher ed, we like to name our buildings funny things. There would be you would look for the LRC, and that was the Learning Resources Center. So nobody would ever know what that is. So that app kind of helped out with that. But there was a plan to take it a step further within the college textbooks. So imagine you were in a history class and you were learning some early American history, and the textbook, you pulled out the app and you hovered it over a picture, and all of a sudden water started seeping onto the pages and you could hear audio. And as this animation played out, pretty soon your page is filled and it's Washington crossing the Potomac, and you're immersed in what you should be reading. This enhances that text. It's a whole interactive element. And as you pull away from the book, you have a 360 video that you can look and see what was going on during that time frame. Another example that we were working on was our nursing students being able to use this app to point it at a skeleton inside the nursing wing and you could choose functions like building out the vascular system or seeing the muscle system. Those were in its infancy. We actually had them working, but then I took a job with Robert Morris and the app died. So that was my first step into interactive design. And from there, I've done lots of other things that lead to some big ideas. So that's kind of why I'm talking about it. And I encourage anybody here to connect on LinkedIn throughout your journey and career. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can, or answer any questions, or sometimes it's just connect maybe somebody that you want to get to know that I know, I can connect you with them. So that's my shameless plug. So what we're going to cover in about an hour, we're going to look at some best practices. Who does interactive the best, in my opinion. So that's something I want to clarify, is that there's no textbook saying this is who does it the best. This is just who I've looked at and said, they capture a lot of the elements and they do it really well. And then we'll look at digital interactive, how digital can be interactive, and we'll look at print interactive. Then we'll look at some video interactive, some audio interactive, and then just have a brief discussion over what we believe interactive to be. So what is interactive design? That's the key question here. It has kind of transformed over the years. Depending on who you ask, interactive design is a digital thing. It's app development that you can interact with users. It's JavaScript. It's things like that. I don't subscribe to that theory. I think interactive design is all over and applies to many, many things that you can do. So the best definition I can give you came from the interactiondesign.org. And simply put, it's the design of interaction between users and products. So that's a pretty broad definition as to what interactive design is. But I do believe that it does follow 4 key components that in order for you to do interactive design effectively, they should follow these 4 key components. And that's aesthetics, motion, sound, and space. And through this presentation, you'll see these ideas come to life, and you'll be able to link back those key things. Did it have aesthetic? Did it have motion? Did it use its space? And what sound was involved? So with that, you can't talk about interactive design without kind of sidestepping a little bit into something called customer experience, or CX. It's worth mentioning. It's not what we're going to dive into too deep, but it's a vital part. And I urge you to look at CX. CX is all the experiences that your customer has throughout your journey. And that links to the customer journey or student journey if you work in higher ed. And that's basically all the points, all the touch points through the sales funnel into actually being a client. If you don't follow the journey and you don't look at customer experience, you're still probably going to create something that's interactive for the user, but it just might not do anything. It might just be a thing that exists. So back to that app that I was a part of creating, it's just a thing that exists. It was really cool, but it had zero function because we really didn't know what we were doing. So a customer journey is a big topic. We can talk about that for a really long time, but it is a catalyst for customer experience. So according to Fusion Alliance, customer experience, there's some steps to understand customer experience. In order to get your customer experience, you need to do some discovery, some research on your current customer. You need to analyze the business mission and values and process. You need to align your business process with customer experience opportunity, map the customer journey, and analyze your competitors, markets, and industry. So in doing these things, you're able to understand your customer's experience beyond just creating something interesting. So why customer experience? I'm on slide 11. I haven't showed you anything interactive, but there's a reason why customer experience is something I'm talking about. So according to Forbes, they surveyed 1,000 customers. 74% were likely to buy based on experience alone, and 77% said customer experience was just as important as the quality of the product. So that's a pretty big deal. If you're looking at 1,000 people, 74 saying that they're going to buy based on the fact that they had an experience, and 77 said it's just as important as the product itself. So interaction is pretty critical. It's something that if you do correctly, you're going to have huge success in. So going back to my very first slide, when you came into the room, there was a QR with my face on it. And out of curiosity, how many people actually scanned it? One. Good. Okay. Well, you're proving my point.
I did. I don't know how to do my hand.
Okay.
I can't find it.
It's kind of proving my point. QR codes in theory are great. They do add a little bit of interaction to your designs, to your concepts, but QRs don't work in the real world, not all the time. They've potentially just kind of been kicked around for so long and used incorrectly that the content that they send you to is either not a responsive website, not a good user experience. So we've kind of trained ourselves to not believe them and use them. They're still great to use and they still have their function. But in this presentation, that's the only QR that I'm really going to get into. They're fantastic if you need them, but don't expect high results. Okay. So who's the best in interactive design? The next slide I have to show you is a short video, but in my opinion, Coca-Cola is the best at interactive design. And you will see from this presentation that their campaigns are fantastic. So the first one I want to show you is something called the drinkable poster. And please, somebody speak up if you can't hear anything.
I can't hear it.
Yeah, you might need to share your sound there,
To
Scott.
get more people to try Coke Zero, we created an
There we go. We're good. Keep
Hi.
going.
entire campaign that they could literally drink, including an interactive poster that turned phones into digital straws. We partnered with Shazam, an app that over 600 million people already have on their phones, and turned audio recognition into a unique two-screen experience. By adding a subsonic sound that triggers a video in their database, we put a straw in everyone's hands. Every interaction resulted in a code for a free Coke Zero that could be redeemed at special vending machines. The result? In a single weekend, the poster delivered over 4,000 Coke Zeros. So next time you're thirsty, drink a poster.
So, nope. Why does this work? Well, it has the key elements in interactive design. It actually uses all four of them. It's definitely an aesthetic. It has motion. It uses space and sound. So given the ask, right, the hard part is getting a user to actually use the thing that's there. I see some chats. Hold on one second. Oh, neat. Cool. Okay. Sorry, I'm used to teaching an online club and I always stop to read the comments. So the act of actually getting the user to do the thing that you want them to do, there are barriers. So getting someone to pull out their phone and asking them to scan something or put in a URL or any sort of direction, usually you'll get some, most just walk by. The fact that they keyed this into Shazam, which is already built into your phone that's listening, it makes that interaction so much quicker and so much easier. And if you participate, you're rewarded, right? So they had over, what was it, 4,000 Coke Zeros in one weekend. That's a lot off of a billboard, a poster. But it's also in this public. So all these people are seeing you do this action and they want to take a part in it too. So it's just all around one of the neatest experiences. But there's another example I want to show you. This one's a little bit longer, but it's not as easy to see the interactive, but it's layered so subtle and done so well that you're actually interacting with the brand on so many levels that easily can be one of the best campaigns I've ever seen.
Mobile is at the core of everything we're doing. If we can't make a story work on a 4-inch by 2-inch screen, then it doesn't work and it doesn't go further. We are focused on engaging teens and young adults. Teens have two states of being. They're either asleep or connected. They're always searching. They're always looking for interesting content. One of the things about these millennials and these teens is, right or wrong, they're very sort of self-obsessed. If you like your image the most, you like your name the second most. Tapping into that was a root insight of Share a Coke. Provoking passion, provoking reaction, provoking happiness are all the things that we want to do. What we've done with Share a Coke is taken our name and our brand off our labels of many of our most popular packages and put consumers' names on. We've seen such great engagement. Consumers' habits now center around search, and that creates the opportunity for a brand to engage. What consumers want to do in the moment with Share a Coke is find their name. If they're at a shelf or they're seeing some of our content, the natural question is, well, what about me? And is my name on that Coke? When they're in that moment looking, we want to be able to receive them and answer that question as easily and quickly as possible. We get them through search over to shareacoke.com. They can check if their name is available on a package. If they want to go further, they can order their own bottle. So the online component was really, really important on the fulfillment aspect. We want to close the loop always. So that ability to answer that consumer's need in that moment is really critical. We see the huge business shift for us in every market that we've had Share a Coke. In North America, no exception to that. On some of our biggest and most important packages, we've seen double-digit increases. We've had now over 500,000 bottles created online and fulfilled online. The platforms will change and the means to communicate might change, but the fundamentals will look the same. You too must meet your consumer where they are, engage them in a way that's meaningful for them. It's just that simple.
So why does this work? It's personalized. You interact with the brand. It feels like you have a voice with the brand and you have bragging rights. But one of the key things to focus on here is one of my favorite subjects. I talk about this all the time, and some of my team members on this call know I've mentioned this ad nauseum, but they follow something called a micro moment. And a micro moment is basically something Google made up. And it's how they interact their search. They have some key things that they want you to do in order to make their search valuable. I believe that these micro moments go beyond Google, and they actually work in everyday life. Anything that you're doing, if you follow this micro moments theory, it impacts in such a way and makes you so much more available. And if you think about it within interactive design, it's unstoppable. So the reason this works is users go in and they interact with the brand, they add their name, they can choose to send it to themselves, they can look for their friends' names. It's not a big splashy interaction, but you're definitely interacting and different things are happening while you're with the brand. So what is a micro moment? I talked a little bit about it, but there's some key elements to think about for a micro moment. And that is be there, be useful, and be quick. Those three things are critical in the digital space and in the print space, within your student journey or customer journey. For example, you have to be there in order for it to work. It has to be useful and it better be quick. If it's not those three things, chances are they're just going to go away. They're just not going to work. So I've used this example when I worked for a college. They had a retention issue, student retention issue. And through our customer journey, we realized that there was multiple touch points that just weren't happening. And the actual product started in the parking lot. So the example I gave was you show up to work, you park your car, you get out, and you're walking into the office, and you see a student with a flat tire. You're there, you're certainly there. So you can not be useful and just go inside and, you know, the interaction's over, or you can be useful, walk over and ask the student, do they need help? So there's two. You could be quick by knowing security's phone number and calling them, or running in real quick and grabbing them and getting the students help as soon as possible. Or you can go back to your desk, set your stuff down, get around to it, and maybe somebody may come help that student. So those three things: be there, be useful, be quick. They don't cost you anything, and they mean the world to somebody. It's that split-second moment that changes their opinion of what you're doing. So you have to think of that on top of the 4 key principles of interactive. If you can make it do these 3 things, it's even better. So talking about digital interactive, and I hope this works because I didn't test it on Zoom. Websites are the first place you go to for digital interactive. This website in particular, the Blue Marine Foundation, I'm gonna go ahead and click on it, and can everybody see this website as it slowly loads?
Like we just got the blue screen right now.
Yeah,
There it is. It's coming. There you are.
Oh, love the internet. Okay, so this is the sea we breathe. So you click to begin, and it has sound, it has motion.
Select your journey, and off we go.
It has aesthetic. So based just straight into the browser, you can go in and dive in.
Green forests of the sea.
So as a user, you use your mouse to scroll through the ocean. And find-
Mangrove forests, tidal marshes, and seagrass meadows make up.
So if you don't want to listen to them, you just keep going. You can basically swim the ocean and find out all kinds of different information right from your browser, which is really, really cool. It's super interactive. So I'll go back to this. That's definitely a website that's beyond interactive. You can go in and check out all different kind of avenues to learn more about the ocean. One of my favorites is this portfolio site. Hopefully this one loads a little faster. It does. So this portfolio site allows a user, anybody going to it, to actually control the website like it's a video game, and you play with your arrow keys. So if you think of this as like a hiring manager or somebody looking to cut through the noise of a job, this is like one of the coolest ways to be interactive in your design and play around with your information. So anybody viewing it can kind of swim around, go back, look at different things. It's a highly interactive, really cool website. So that's one way, two websites that are great interactive pieces. Now, we talked a little bit about AR at the beginning, and I think you can't really do a presentation on interactive if you don't mention IKEA. So has anybody used the IKEA Place app? I'll take the silences, no. So I'll show you a quick video about the IKEA Place app that you can go and download now. It's not something that's been around for ages. It's been around for a couple years, but IKEA took the ability, one of the jokes is to get lost in IKEA, you eat meatballs and listen to ABBA because of all the Swedish things. But one of my frustrations is you go and you have to find the thing. You have to think about how you're going to get it home. You have to think about what it's going to look like in your house. And IKEA just solved that problem with this IKEA Place app. So check this out. Nope. You're not going to check it out.
Hey, IKEA would like everyone to know about Place, our new augmented reality app. Built on Apple's new AR kit, you can easily place true to scale 3D models of IKEA furniture in your place. Scan, browse, select, move, and place. So that could mean less of this. And less of this. And probably more of this. We want to make it easier for people everywhere to imagine a better place. Share this place. In this place. Try place in your place.
So I don't know if you've ever had to buy furniture and figure out if it fits or not. IKEA definitely solves that problem for us with IKEA Place. And how interactive is that? It actually 3D too. You can place it in the middle of the room and walk around and get all the different angles of the piece that you'd like to buy. And it doesn't show, and if I remember correctly, it has links that you can just buy it straight from the app. So talking about the core elements, it's definitely an aesthetic. It uses sound, it uses space, but it also follows those micro moments. It is super quick. You're there, it's useful. It's just a great interactive piece. So how else can digital be interactive? Digital is kind of like the footprint for interactive design, in my opinion. And there's lots of ways that you can dive into this, but some things I want you to think about is age responsive design. And that's something that if I had $1 for every time I talked about age responsive design, I wouldn't be sitting here and I would be on a beach somewhere, because I've been talking about this now probably for 5+ years, but it's coming. It has to. Just the way that we behave online, age responsive design is going to take all your information and give you the most unique user experience on web and mobile based on your age. So does that mean that the images of a website changes, or the font size changes, or the speed of the scroll? All of that can be pulled in, and this whole unique, totally interactive experience, all from just some CSS and being able to read some of those profiles. So that's something to think about. The next are websites that change based on location. You interact with these like with web weather apps and things like that. But as marketers or creatives, you can do this real hard backend JavaScripting, or you can do it simply through custom URLs. But you can change all the content on a website specifically based on a location. So if you're targeting Pittsburgh and you want to use some Pittsburgh language and say, hey, South Side, we've got a deal for you. You can do that all within a URL masked as a vanity URL, and it'll populate those pieces in. So that's a low quality interactive, but it is interacting with the user in a different way. So you don't have to have apps that place furniture in your living room. You don't have to have a website that's like a video game or a snorkeling excursion. Small changes to code can actually make a little bit of a cool user experience. So print interactive, we'll cycle into this. So we're moving away from the digital. Now print will overlap with digital. But the next couple things I want to show you are the absolute coolest way to do print interactive. And in my opinion, I think you can really make a huge difference with packaging and interactive. And, when I was in school, Gap had these blue bags with the drawstrings, and everybody wanted these blue bags. And I never understood why everyone had them. They used them as gym bags. So it makes me think about shopping bags a lot, because everybody likes a good shopping bag. People hold on to them forever. So here are some very interactive, interesting shopping bags. Lego had one that the actual straps for the bag were inside the bag. So when you stuck your hand in the bag and it lined up with your jacket, it looked like you had a Lego hand walking around, which is super interactive and very cool. Not necessarily for the person carrying the bag, but for the people around you. They want that bag. They think it's super neat. Below that is a bag that uses the handles as laces for shoes. And that's super interactive because you've got this shoe company that's kind of making their packaging walk away with you. It's like lacing up your shoes. Directly next to that is H&M, and H&M made an interactive bag by making it into a hanger. So not only is this sustainable, but it's kind of fun, and I'm not sure how easy it is to make that bag into a hanger, but it does look pretty cool when it's done. And then the one next to that, it kind of goes along with the shoelace one, where I believe it was for Cirque du Soleil. The handles are actually the ribbons that the performer are hanging on, which is really neat and interesting. But my favorite, and favorite because I made it, I put it on here. This is a shopping bag for Pen Mac at the very top. And the shopping bag for Pen Mac, when products go into the bag and you pull on the handles, you can see there's like a little noodle sticking out of the chef's mouth. When the weight is put in the bag and the handles are lifted, the noodle slurps up into the mouth. And then when you take all the stuff out, the noodle comes back down. So that's another interactive piece inside some print media it's not hard or super expensive to do. But it's just a different way of looking at something everyone uses. Everyone uses bags. So how do you make it interactive with your user? Moving on to this kind of crosses the digital platform, but 99 Crimes Wine. This is going to be an example that I show you that I think is not good, but still interesting. But I think it's one of those big asks. You need someone to download a specific app to do. And it doesn't really add to anything, but it's still kind of cool. So the bottle of 99 Crimes Wine, if you hover your phone on it with a specific app you have to download, the bottle will come to life.
Easter Monday, 1876, we made break for the ship Catalpa. We nearly sunk getting to her, but after 2 days, hands bloody from rowing, we boarded the Catalpa and escaped.
So that's a cool little party trick. You have people over and you want to show off this kind of okay wine. It's fun, but the app is really clunky and takes up a lot of space on your phone. So that's my example of things that don't work. So how else can print be interactive? And again, I went back to QRs. People put them everywhere. But I believe in NFC tags. An NFC tag is a near field communication tag. They're low tech, super cheap, maybe 10 cents a tag. They're easy to program. They require little to no skill. You can download NFC tools on iPhone, and you can create a complete different user experience just by these tags. These tags can be put in between two sheets of paper, underneath separate stickers. They can pretty much go anywhere. They can get wet, even though they have some circuitry on them. But basically, there's no need to scan anything. The minute your phone comes within its proximity, it will fire the task that you have installed on the tag. So if you think of those business cards, tap to add, that's what they're using. They're using NFC, but you don't have to spend $50. You can spend 10 cents to have the same interaction. So if you think about it for a limited release brochure, or if you're in a college and you need to send the public Wi-Fi, you can use these NFC tags all around buildings to just have somebody hold their phone over the tag, and the Wi-Fi password just gets automatically put into your phone. So, and near field's been around since, I believe, World War I. It is not new. It's just not leveraged very well. So if you're thinking of ways to make print interactive, this is a way to do it, and you're not asking someone to pull out their phone and scan something. They just have to get their phone somewhere near it, which is kind of like Beacon, but Beacon does require some additional app set to it. Most new phones have NFC readers already built into them, and they're already turned on. Whoop. So interactive video. I believe due to time, I think I'm just going to skip this interactive video. Yeah, let's just go to this. So video. How many have seen the show Kaleidoscope on Netflix? If you haven't, you should. Okay, Jenny. So Kaleidoscope is a show that all, similar to all Netflix shows, all of the episodes are listed all at once. But what's unique about this is you can pick any episode to start with. There is no start or finish. And you can follow the story in a completely different way and get a kind of different experience when watching it. So it's really interesting. It's about a heist, but it's not in order, and it's a lot of fun to watch and kind of figure out what's going on. So that's a way for video to be interactive. My youngest loves Boss Baby, and Netflix once again does another cool thing where the episodes of Boss Baby, some of them are choose your own adventure, which I had no idea, and I got sucked in 100% on this. But you watch the show and then it gets prompt, and the child uses the remote to pick what's going to happen next. So if you think about that from a grander scale, that's multiple rewatches of the same episode, because there's so many different ways it could end. That's also a heavy lift on the editor's side and the writer's side, because they have to write all the different ways that the episode could go. But a kid could just choose it and rewatch it and choose the other thing, or choose. It's so much fun. And it made me think, like, well, why is that just for kids? And it turns out it actually isn't. So here's what Netflix did for adults with Bear Grylls. So when you view that video, it's actually the title cards in YouTube that you click, and it goes to another video and then another, and it basically builds these episodes off. But they did that within Netflix's platform too. So you're making decisions on what Bear Grylls is going to do and how you survive certain situations. It takes the idea of sitting in front of a television to a whole new level and creates this whole brand personality thing that, we haven't really seen or explored. The video I skipped was about Vimeo, and the fact that you can create all of these interactive elements now stock in Vimeo on a completely separate timeline. If you've uploaded things to YouTube, you get title cards and things like that. But this actually pauses the video and pulls out different elements in a really cool aesthetic-y way. So definitely check that out if you're into video. So my next topic is audio interactive. And this is an interesting one, because I think it's in its infancy. And if you think infancy, all these other things that I'm talking about are pretty young. But with audio, what is coming out, if it's not already out currently, is voice and motion interactive. So you're listening to Spotify, you didn't pay for a subscription, you get the ad, and the ad is talking to you. And instead of, asking you to click or tap, it just says shake your phone and you get 20% off. So all you have to do is shake your phone and the coupon's automatically sent to you. That's really cool. That's different. It's interesting. Same with voice. You have Alexas and Siris and all these different virtual assistants that when you're listening to a podcast, using that voice activation is a whole new way to think audio interactively. And what I'll give you an example with is if you're a crime podcast junkie, how cool will it be to have something that Netflix is doing, but with a crime podcast where you use your voice to tell the podcast where to go? And that's a hefty lift on the editors, but you're finding out all kinds of different information and you're interacting. Or if you're into like The Walking Dead or anything like that, being able to use your voice to control the story being told to you, that's on the forefront. That's here. That's happening. And it's a different way to think about how are you going to interact on this audio space. Right now, currently, out of the box, Spotify allows you to do polls and questions. And those are quick ways that if you upload through Anchor a podcast, you can put a poll there and actually live see the listeners interact with your podcast and poll. So that's pretty cool. That's a low key way to get it interactive. That high key motion and voice, I'm excited to see where that goes. But something you can do right now is the polls and questions. So with that is the presentation, and I open it up to any questions, anything you'd have. Oh, you can play the Mickey Mouse game on audio. That's cool.
Yeah, we would play that. We'd play the Mickey Mouse game on our Google Home while we'd be making dinner. And you could answer differently every time, and eventually it becomes circular, but it was always a really good experience. And what's also cool about it is that Google Home is able to understand different voices and pitches and volumes and stuff like that. It worked out pretty well. So I'm really excited about that future, actually.
It's pretty cool. I really do think that from an interactive standpoint, that's going to be the forefront of what we see and do. And I think if done right, not like the QR, I think it'll be really cool. I don't know. I hate on QRs, but I still use them.
I'll tell you what your presentation could use: more information about QR codes.
Right? Any questions from the group here? Happy to answer anything.
Any questions in general for Scott? Maybe career stuff. We have some students in the room.
I put them to sleep.
Yeah.
I really like the interactive bags and was thinking of the Archie hands for our bag.
Yeah, we could.
And surprised you haven't told us that. That would be great. Let's do it. Come on, that'd be funny. For maybe not okay, now you got me thinking.
That's good. That's the whole point. Exactly. I looked up those NFC tags and they're really cheap on Amazon. Can you write to them from the iPhone, or I guess you'd have to buy a separate device? Or
you write to them straight from the iPhone. We actually experimented with it with one of our brochures. The problem we ran into is finding a manufacturer that will write them and place them. But you can buy a stack of those and write them straight from your iPhone. And it's just an app that you scan you place the NFC tag close to your phone, it reads it, and then you WYSIWYG, I want it to call RJ or I want it to launch Zoom, and it just does it. It just programs it, and that's it. It's done. It takes probably 13 seconds to program an NFC tag.
What's the name of the app?
NFC Tools on iPhone.
Cool. I'm looking that up. I'm really inspired by that because, working at a college campus, I can do a number of different things with those. I think that could be a lot of fun to see, mind the kid in the background, to see posters with the NFC tag attached to them, and then you could just scan it and it pulls up a video. It's kind of almost got an augmented reality bent to it.
Yeah, you can even have them hidden. They have a degree that of space where they become non-recognizable, but that space is big. So it could just be magic, like put your phone next to this poster and all of a sudden it does these things. It's pretty cool. We at PA Cyber, we're going to use them on a larger scale. But I think we're kind of limited to how you would execute that in the manner in which we want to execute it.
Mhm.
But there is application for smaller dealings like right away. Think of a business like if the students are looking for a job, right? Putting one of those on a resume that you mail in and it connects all your information into a phone. You could even put some tracking into it so you know the day, time, and location that it was scanned.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
Does that
Yeah.
NFC app do that?
If you went through Bit, like if you were saying go to my website and you used Bitly as
Oh, okay. It's a conduit.
yeah. Mhm.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
So there's a lot of application. There's a lot of cool things you can do. I
Yeah.
think the important thing is to look at the things that you experience every day that are just kind of bland and how do you make them more fun?
Right. Oh man, that I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. That's gonna be cool. Thanks for that.
No problem.
Look at that, everybody. I'm learning.
The learning never stops.
That's right. Well, this was great, Scott. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you and your crew are welcome to stay on and she almost knocked my computer over. Anyway, you are all welcome to stay on and sit tight for Kent Kerr's presentation next on design thinking, and then eventually Kim's presentation on accessibility. And I see you just logged on, Kim. Hello.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I just really enjoyed the end of the presentation. I'm sorry I missed the beginning, but I think that's really wonderful. I 100% agree with everything you're teaching, and I'm excited to be able to sort of tie in a few things that that kind of echo the same thoughts. So yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. And thank you, Scott. Really appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and we'll sit tight for a bit and wait for Ken to log in. We'll move forward.
Yeah.